Capcom. Capcom is a big name in the video game industry. When it comes to the PS2 library, most people look at Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, and Monster Hunter, which to this day are still popular franchises from Capcom. Capcom has a lot of gems in the PS2 library like Haunting Ground, Maximo, and God Hand. But Capcom has a deeper layer of games that most people don't know was either developed or published by Capcom. The first game I want to go over is Crimson Tears. This was developed by Dream Factory. Ah yeah, the same people that worked on The Bouncer. The game is published by both Capcom and Spike. Back then I used to think that Spike TV was making video games, but no. It's a video game company which is now known as Spike Chunsoft. Anyways, Crimson Tears is a beat 'em up game. I think the game has a cool cel-shaded appearance. You have 3 different characters to play as: Asuka, Kaede, and Tokyo. However, they are renamed in the States. They are Amber, Katie, and Tokyo. I see they never bothered to change Tokyo's name. They seem to appear as humans, but something gives the player a vibe that they might be something else like an android. The game starts with a hub world. You can talk to NPCs and shop for items and weapons. Also, the city seems to upgrade stock the more you progress in the game. For the majority of the game, it seems like a dungeon crawler. You enter an area with multiple zones. Once you finish the final zone, you will encounter the boss. Once you beat the boss, you earn a ranking and see a new cutscene and story progress. However, things become more complex. In later parts of the game, you will need keycards to get out of the area.
You found it! You can upgrade the teleporter now.
There are items to let you know where the keycards is, which is the key radar. And there's exit radars to let you know where the teleporter is. In the map, the green area is where the keycard is located, and the blue is where the exit is. Your character will level up the more they fight in combat. This will increase their health and heat gauge. In combat, you have 2 buttons to attack mainly. You also have special attacks as well. You don't want to get too excited in combat, because whenever your character overheats, they enter a state where they move fast and their health drains, but overheat will take a good chunk of your health. You could use items to cool down. My recommendation is grind, grind, and grind until you reach a fair amount of health when you level up. Some of these bosses are annoying, and if your character dies, you have a choice to rescue your teammate. And if you fail, you lose everything you gain in progress, so make sure to save and reset in case you fail. A good way to level up is to beat up enemies after they're defeated. You gain extra experience, so take advantage of juggling. I forgot to mention that you can perform a one-shot kill on enemies. As long as they don't notice you, bang, instant stealth kill. You can also equip weapons like swords, daggers, guns, and so on. Crimson Tears has side missions as well, which will encourage you to replay previous areas. You will be rewarded with upgrades. And speaking of upgrades, you can upgrade your fighting skills. This game encourages grinding. That's pretty much all I have for Crimson Tears. I think it's pretty okay. The next game is Under the Skin. This is definitely a Capcom hidden gem. This was developed and published by Capcom. This game is about an alien named Cosme. He is sent to Earth to cause mischief. Unfortunately, Cosme hits a satellite that catches the civilians' attention. Now he has to go undercover, or under the skin, to make progress.
Why don't I explain what's going on here? See, when aliens from the Mischief Planet turn 3, they leave home and train in the art of mischief making on other worlds. If they pass the many trials ahead of them and return home safely, they are rewarded with praise. But the planet our young Cosme is headed toward is the wildest, most barbaric one in the galaxy. So far, not a single contender has passed trial on this planet. Anyone who could pass would be regarded as a hero.
Just like Crimson Tears, I really enjoyed the cel-shaded look on the characters. I think it aged very well. Anyways, the game starts with a stage select on where to cause havoc. Each location will have a theme and a rival. For the most part, you will have to collect more coins than your rival. And sometimes you will team up with another alien to collect coins. Gameplay wise, you disguise yourself and set tricks on civilians or your rivals to gain coins. You will lose your disguise by either getting hit by the angry civilian or alien rival. Your disguise will lose pieces of clothes. Yeah, we are doing this Ghost and Goblin style. You will lose your disguise and everyone will freak out that there's an alien nearby. Your saving grace is use another disguise. To do this, you have to take another human's likeness and go to a UFO. Each human has different arsenals, so it's wise not getting anyone random. The game is pretty short, but I think the game is well played if you're doing multiplayer. There is a multiplayer mode after all. There is a movie mode, but it's just trailers from other Capcom games. I will say check out Under the Skin, it's pretty fun. The last game is Way of the Samurai 2. This one is developed by Acquire and once again Spike, but it is published by Capcom in the States. Now, what can I say about Way of the Samurai 2? It's quite the experience, that's for sure. I have streamed and played the first one, and I enjoyed it. It's quite the interesting experience. Part 2 is no exception. As far as the story, well, which one? You could create your own route when you play this game. And don't worry about missing out on any important interactions. This game will give you plenty of opportunities to encounter them. What do I mean? Well, in a cruel way. If you die in this game, you start all over to the beginning. You're gonna see this cutscene a lot.
It is the late Edo period, the last days of the samurai. Japanese society is undergoing dramatic changes. Much has changed and much has been lost, but the heart of the samurai remains the same. Our story opens as a lone samurai warrior appears in Amahara, a town rocked by these turbulent times.
You start as a wandering swordsman starving. This little girl will offer you rice balls, and depending on what your statement is to her, this will begin your story. Now I had mentioned that the game will make you start over if you die, but the game saves, right? Well, yes, it saves what you've done and rank it in the game. However, as far as story progression, no. You start over to the beginning if you die. However, this game teaches you that you shouldn't be a bully and fight everyone that you see walking your way. You should interact with others, get their side of the story. In fact, you could do some jobs to get some swords, food, and so on. This game has a lot of cool characters. My favorite ones will be Kasumi and Kyujiro Kagenuma, both femme fatales.
Ooh, you give me goosebumps looking at me like that.
The biggest highlight for this game will be two things. One is which side will you be on? Do you fight for the people who need a hero? Do you work with the Autogan to start a new era? Will you side with the law on the magistrate side? Or do you just watch things happen and do things your way? The last highlight to mention is the festival. This is where everyone from the Autogan and the magistrate take it out on this civil war, and you're in the middle of it. The combat is pretty simple. You can slash your sword horizontally and vertically. But my favorite thing is parrying. If you do it right, you could one-shot kill anyone. I say check this one out. Just be aware that this game could be cruel on dying and going back to the beginning. Alright, so that's 3 hidden gems from Capcom. Out of the 3, I will go with Way of the Samurai 2. It's a personal preference for me. It has great stories and characters. And I really enjoyed the jank in the game. And the voice acting, if I was to compare it, it reminds me a bit like Shenmue. And hey, I love the Shenmue games.
That's a fine blade you've got there.
Way of the Samurai has a huge cult following and still making sequels to this day. The latest one that I could remember would be Katama Kami on the PS4. However, Way of the Samurai 2 is the only one published by Capcom. The other games will be developed and published by Acquire and Chunsoft Spike, respectively. Under the Skin is very fun, but it can get old very quick. The best way to play this would be multiplayer. I do enjoy the cameos from Resident Evil 3, with Jill Valentine, Carlos, and Nemesis. Crimson Tears is okay, but it can get quite tedious to grind just to level up and deal with tough enemies in later parts. I do find the game quite interesting, but things could get old real quick. That's all I have for this video. I hope I sparked an interest in any of these games. Capcom is a big name in the video game industry, and the company has a lot of gems besides Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, and Resident Evil. I'll try to talk about more in the future. Feel free to follow me on the socials. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.